Hello, everybody. Cheers to the tranquilizing Tuesday. We are reading chapter number 5 from Flamingo Indigo, where we are discussing about Mahatma Gandhi, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the champion of freedom movement of India. We are reading it on page 5, dear students, and this is the fourth meeting against the chapter. Last we were discussing when Mahatma Gandhi received a summon to appear in the court of law. Why? Because he had defied the official order. And what was the official order? The official order was to quit Champaran. And why was he at all served this notice, eviction notice? Yes, because uh, he went to that when Gandhi received a news that a peasant had been maltreated in a nearby village. He decided to go and see. So he was overtaken by the messenger of police superintendent of that district, and the messenger drove Gandhi back home. And then there he was served with an official notice to quit Champaran. Yes, because they were under a dread of this man Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, so therefore they ordered him to quit the division immediately. Mahatma Gandhi complied with the first order. The first order was to go back. And Mahatma Gandhi, without any haggling, he retreated. He returned. He complied with the order. He himself was a lover of law actually. So there was no point saying no to it. But when another order came to quit Champaran, Gandhi had to defy it. He had to refuse it. He had to disobey it. Not that he wanted to disrespect the law, but that he had a greater respect for the supreme law, the highest authority, the law of conscience, because he was well aware of his rights. He was not illiterate. He was there to save others' rights. So, to be able to safeguard others' rights, one has to be aware of one's own rights. One should be able to protect oneself first. So Gandhi knew that it was his fundamental right that he could easily move about and reside in any part of the country. This is given to each and every citizen of the country as inheritance. So no one could order him in his own country to quit any place in particular when he was at no fault. So therefore, he disobeyed the order, and as a result, he received a summon to appear in the court of law next day. All night Gandhi remained awake. We read it last time. All night Gandhi remained awake. He telegraphed Rajendra Prasad to come from Bihar with influential friends. He also sent instructions to the ashram, and then he wired a full report to the viceroy. And what happened? Morning in the morning, Motihari was black with peasants. Number of people, peasants from all around, they came and gathered there at the site. It's not that they were aware of Gandhi's record in South Africa and they were really influenced by him. No, they were not aware of his past records. The only thing they knew was that there was a Mahatma who had come to help them get rid of sharecropping, and he was somewhere in trouble with the authorities. So that is why they were there to help their champion. So for the first time, this is to be noted, dear students, for the first time they held demonstrations, they raised their voice and slogan against the Britishers and around the courthouse when Gandhi appeared there. So they gathered outside the courthouse, they held demonstrations, though they were peaceful, and that was the beginning of the liberation from fear of Britishers, which is what Gandhi exactly pointed out as the first step to be taken. And it was here the initiation of this liberation from the fear of Britishers. Now, the officials felt powerless without Gandhi's cooperation. Now, the crowd was going restless and they were out of control. The officials, they felt powerless. They could not regulate the crowd. Yes. So the crowd was overpowering, intolerable, you may say. So they had to seek Gandhi's cooperation and help to regulate the crowd. You must have witnessed similar situation in a movie, Gabbar is Back. right? Where he helps the authorities regulate the crowd who were all the more agag and ready for protest and mutiny. So Gandhi, because very submissive always and polite and friendly, so he offered them help to regulate the crowd without any second thought. But you know, one thing that is to be noted here, he was giving the Britishers, he was giving the government the concrete proof, a solidified proof that their might here, dear students, means power, that the power of Britishers, hitherto dreaded and unquestioned, hitherto means so far, which is so far frightened, dreaded by the peasants, means which peasants were afraid of, and which was never questioned their power. But now it could be challenged by the Indians. Gandhi had given them concrete proof that their power, which was so far unchallenged, could now be challenged by the young Indians or the new Indians. New Indians are the people here, I mean, the people who are well aware of their rights. So now the government was utterly baffled, confused what to do. The prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial. Yes, so the advocate requested the judge that this trial interrogation should be postponed. Now the question is why? Why did the prosecutor request the judge to postpone the trial? Because this prosecutor is representing, who is the prosecutor representing? He's the representative of the government, right? Representative of the state, because it was state versus peasants. Apparently, the authorities wished to consult their superiors. Yes, the exact reason why they wanted the trial to be postponed, so that meanwhile, in the given time, they could consult their authorities before taking any step. But Gandhi protested against the delay. You see the vigor of the man, you see the farsightedness of the man, you see the approach of this man, that he protested against the delay. He read a statement pleading guilty. He accepted his guilty. He accepted his fault. He confessed that yes, he had defied the order. He told the court. He also explained why he had to do it. And this is very important paragraph, my dear students. He told the court that he was in a conflict of duties. Now, what was that conflict of duties? It can be asked as a question for 2 marks. What was the conflict of duties? One side, on one side, Gandhi wanted to render his humanitarian and national service to the peasants of Champaran. He wanted to liberate them of sharecropping, for which he had exclusively come. This is the first thing. At the same time, on the other hand, he did not want to set a bad example of breaking the law. As is written here, on one hand, he did not want to set a bad example as a lawbreaker by breaking the law. But on the other hand, he wanted to render his humanitarian services to the peasants of Champaran, which he had come exclusively for. See, the second was not possible. The latter was not possible. Helping them out was not possible without if he had quit the place. Right? So therefore, for the want of time, for the want of situation, he had to disregard the order to leave. But he makes it very clear again that it was not for want of respect of lawful authority. No, but it was in obedience to the higher law of our being, the voice of conscience, as I already had explained. And he asked the punishment because he confessed his crime. Yes, he defied the order. He elaborated why he had to, and then he asked the penalty due. But he, protested against the delay. He protested against the postponement because he had also read through their ulterior designs already. So he protested against the delay. So the magistrate announced that he would pronounce sentence after a 2 hours recess. He would give his verdict after a 2 hours recess, and verdict that will not be questioned. And he asked Gandhi to furnish bail for those 120 minutes. Anyhow, they wanted to get rid of this man who had become a big living problem there. Anyhow, they wanted some time to consult their superiors, so they gave him bail without being requested. So they allowed Gandhi to furnish bail for those 2 hours, but Gandhi refused for this as well. You see the inimitable, indomitable spirits of Mahatma Gandhi, how fearless he was, and where did this attitude and approach, this power come from? This was all coming from the fact that he was justified and he was fighting for his rights. The judge released him without bail. This is very, very funny. How dreadful, how dreaded they were. When the court reassembled, reconvened means reassembled, the judge said he would not deliver the judgment for several days, means it was postponed. Meanwhile, they allowed Gandhi to remain at liberty. Meanwhile, what happened? If you remember, Gandhi had the previous night to the day of trial, Gandhi had written letters to some of his friends there, asking them to come from Bihar with his influential friends. So they had also arrived. Rajendra Prasad, Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Majhul Haq, and several other prominent lawyers had arrived from Bihar. They conferred with Gandhi. They discussed the entire matter at length with Mahatma Gandhi. What would they do if he was sentenced to? Now, this is very, very important part. Question generally strikes from this part, students. What would they do if he was sentenced to prison? Gandhi asked. Why? The senior lawyer replied. They had come to advise. You see the question. This is a question asked by Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi very politely asked them that if he was sentenced to prison, he was sent behind bars, what would they do? What would be their obligation and what would be their duty and what would be their role? So the senior lawyer of them replied that they had come to advise and help him. And if he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. Oh my God. Gandhi was not prepared for such an answer. That was a bolt from the blue, leading to his utter dejection and despair. He was very sad and upset at having received such a reply. The senior lawyer said that we have come to advise you, sir. We have come to help you. And if you are absent and if you are sent to jail, if you are not there, who would be advice and help? So therefore, we would have no option than to return home. Gandhi, extremely dejected and disappointed, asked them, "What about the injustice to the sharecroppers?" Gandhi demanded, "Who will help these people?" The lawyers, they withdrew to consult because there was a point in what Gandhi said. Who would help these people? There were no relatives of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi did not have any personal interests in serving these peasants, and Gandhi was a total stranger. The lawyers they withdrew to consult the entire matter, and Rajendra Prasad had recorded the upshot of their consultation. You know, they discussed these things. They thought amongst themselves that Gandhi was a totally a stranger. Yes, they held a short meeting at a distance from Mahatma Gandhi, where they discussed that Gandhi, being a total stranger, was prepared to go to prison for the sake of these peasants. And we are the not only the residents of the adjoining district, but we always boast, we always claim that we have been serving these peasants. And if we go home, that would be very shameful on our part. that would be a shameful desertion. Desertion means isolation or separation. So they should know this is what they discussed, and then they came back to Gandhi, this time full of confidence and certainty, and they confided in Mahatma Gandhi. Boldly, they said that they were ready to follow him even into the jail. The Battle of Champaran is won. It generally comes as a question, my dear students. When did Gandhi exclaim that the Battle of Champaran is won? Yes, so you'll have to write this entire episode. That first, when Gandhi asked them, that depends, the length would depend upon the weightage of the question. Okay, if it is a 6 mark question, then you'll have to explain it all from here. And if it is a 2 mark question, then you can just write it in 30 to 40 words that they came back having discussed the entire matter at length. They came back to Gandhi and confidently exclaimed that they were ready to follow him even into the jail. And then Gandhi exclaimed, given that level of commitment, the battle is won already. Then Gandhi took a piece of paper and he divided the group into pairs and he put down the order in which each pair was to court arrest. Yes, they had already decided that they would voluntarily get arrested. Phil the jail was also a part of the movement. So Gandhi distributed and he all the deputations were made. The people, they were divided into groups and each group was you know provided a leader. A leader was nominated for every group and the work was also distributed who was to do what. So all this planning was done. Now several days later, now dear students, you must be wondering about what happened to that trial, that case that had been postponed for the while. So Gandhi received a written communication from the magistrate informing him that the lieutenant governor of the province of the state had ordered the case to be dropped. Yes, they had dropped the case. Now that gives you a food for thought. You must wonder, you must imagine, you must try know the why did they at all have to drop the case against Mahatma Gandhi. Apparently, it is very, very clear, very, very vivid that they were dreaded. Yes, they were shivering, they were trembling with fear, fear of this one man. They were, certain. They knew that this one man could uproot them from the country. Therefore, the case was dropped. They must have sit together and discussed it at length, and then only they came out with the decision that the case was to be dropped, and yes, it was dropped. What did that mean at large? That meant that civil disobedience movement had won, triumphed for the first time in modern India. So this is all for today, dear students. Let me see how much is left. It would take 2 more meetings probably, but not more than two. As we are in no hurry, we'll do it in a qualitative way. So I'll cover the remaining part of the story tomorrow, dear students. Till then, have a nice time. Thank you, each one of you, to join me here.